welcome to Chungsfjord. Yes, this video is about how expensive fishing is and how I deal with this, right? I fish a lot more than most people and life gets really expensive very quickly. And one of the ways that I like to cut down on the expense is to buy tackle from Chinese platforms. But not all the tackle I buy is from Chinese platforms. Some of it is from Europe or EU, or even sometimes even from the States. I also get tackle from, depending on what I need and why I need it, right? But this video is basically about fishing line and a few tools. But the point I'm making here is, even though some of these products that I test for a month, they can still turn out to be crap a year down the road, right? So the products in this video I have tested for over 5 years, right? Most of them, at least 3 years. Now, fishing line is really expensive. It really is very expensive for what it is. And in a year, with the amount of fishing line that I go through, I would be rapidly broke and not making videos anymore. And a lot of people have asked me, what fishing line do I use? And this is mostly what this video is going to be about. So first of all, I'm going to start with monofilament, right? I'm not really fond of monofilament from Chinese platforms. I don't know where to go with it. I haven't had a good one yet. There are some that are okay, but generally I've gone over to braid, but I still use mono when I'm sliding baits. And you haven't seen any because slide bait videos, the fish I'm after, aren't really that common, right? So I haven't managed one yet, but in the past, in my, if you say private fishing, yes, I have managed over the years 5 or 6 great fish sliding on mono, right? It doesn't work with braid, right? And if you want to see that video, I'll link it in the description. It's how to use a non-returning slide. I'll link it in the description, right? So if I was, and when I do, this is the brand of line that I go for, Virivas, right? Extremely tough. I mean, the knot strength of this is absolutely unbelievable. I've been fishing for a little under 50 years and I've tried virtually every product on the market. And this one here is the one I always go back to. It's fantastic. It doesn't claim anything particular. It's just good quality, high knot strength, high abrasion. Fantastic. Decent price as well, right? Of course, it's not Chinese platform prices, right? This and any other form that it comes in. Their shock leaders are also very good. Low diameter, very strong, great knot strength. So that's it. That's what I'd buy if I was buying mono. Another company I go to straight away when I'm buying leaders and line to tie rigs is Yoki. They also have good mainline as well, but I still prefer this. This is Yoki, right? This is called Invisible. It is a little bit misleading, and I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but it does portray itself as being fluorocarbon, but it is not fluorocarbon. It has a fluorine process in the manufacturing of the line. But it is very tough, it is very strong, and it is very thin. For instance, this one here, it's 1 mil and it's 160-ish pounds in breaking strength. And I use this for rigs and for leaders, right? Either cod or halibut. I'll always go for, up here in the Arctic, I'll always go for 1 mil. Whether it's 100 pound or 160 pound, you're better off at 160. And you'll see me using this in a lot of rigs. I'm not going to go into too much detail. The video will get too long, too boring, and too nerdy, right? This one here is great. I don't like fluorocarbon. I've used it in the past and I've lost a lot of great fish because of it. It is very brittle and the knot strength isn't very good. But depending on what you're fishing for and where you're fishing in the world, your needs might differ. This is a leader that I get off Ali. There is no links for any of the products in this video, by the way, but they are all very available on Ali and they are some of their most popular products on there. So put in fluorocarbon and this will pop up, right? This is a bit weird. Now, I just said I don't like fluorocarbon, right? Yeah, I don't. This isn't fluorocarbon. Typical Ali, right? But, you know, the vendors, whether they know it or not, I assume that they do. They portray this as being fluorocarbon, where it is actually not. It is actually monofilament coated in fluorocarbon, right? So it still has the stretch of monofilament and it still has the abrasion resistance of fluorocarbon, right? This is it. This is the highest breaking strain you can get in it, which is 30 pounds, right? Normally, if I was just using normal mono, I wouldn't go any lower than 40. But with this, because of the abrasion resistance, and it's got a great knot strength as well, I go all the way down to 30. I have got bitten off a couple of times, but only a couple of times. It does happen. I mean, I've had big cod bite through 80-pound line. Virivas, for instance, even. This is a great product. If you go onto Ali, you're going to see this. If you put in fluorocarbon, you'll see this. Go in there, have no worries about it. Really cheap, fantastic product. Love it a lot, right? Now, this is more Ali Mono. Now, this is a product from the States, in actual fact. This is a product a lot of the guys from the States will recognize. Whether or not this is authentic or not, I can't actually say. But it is a company in the States that's very popular. It's Cast King, right? And I use this for just general rig bodies. Also, you'll find this on AliExpress. Stupid cheap, right? I think it is actually authentic. The packaging and everything else is 100%. It's quite possibly produced in China, so it could be an authentic product. There's nothing wrong with the monofilament. It's just as good as any of the others I get here in Europe. Absolutely bang on. Cheapest chips, right? Cast King. What I believe most people would be interested in is the braid that I use for my spinning and for my multipliers. And I use like two types, basically. I use 4-strand and I use 8-strand. 8-strand I use for spinning reels, because it's very supple, gets super thin, high breaking strain, and this stuff is cheap, okay? Super cheap. The braid that I use is called Joff, right? This one here is 8-strand, it's 22 pounds, right? And 1,000 meters of this is under 15 pounds, or I'd say about 15 euros, right? Thereabouts, for 1,000 meters, right? And it is really decent quality. It really truly is, and at a fraction of the cost. I use it for main lines and leaders. On multipliers, I use 4-strand because it casts better, it's stiffer, it behaves more like monofilament. And on spinning reels, I always use 8-strand because spinning reels don't like stiff, they like flexible, and it cuts down a lot on wind knots and other such problems like that. I think a lot of people, when they're buying braid, they go cheap and they get 4-strand, and this is not best for spinning reels if you're casting. 8-strand is what you want, 8-strand is what you should get. As for leaders, right, a lot of people ask me, what do I use for leaders? I use exactly the same thing again, right? I like orange because it's visible, and apparently the fish don't give a damn. I've been using this stuff for half a decade now or more, and I haven't noticed any drop in my catch rate at all. In fact, I've noticed an improvement. It's not this, it's the bite detection, which is this, but that can be gained by any type of braid, right? So this is it. Joff again, right? Orange. I recommend orange. It's really good. The first time I thought it goes super stealthy, right? Overthinking the whole thing. And I was doing a lot of night fishing at the time, right? So I saw they had black. So I went, yeah, that's great. No. No, not really. Especially if you have to retie leaders in the dark and stuff. Even with a flash lamp on your head, it's still difficult. So yeah, this stuff is great. If you need leaders for whatever, or as a main line, orange is also a decent color as well, right? But I prefer yellow. It's very visible all day and sometimes in the night time as well. So that is all the line I use, I think. Yes, it is. I highly recommend the Joff. There is no links for any of this stuff because it is very time consuming and it is easy for you to find. If you just type in JOF into the search in Ali, it will pop up straight away, right? And then you just need to go through it. It'll take you about 10 minutes until you find the right deal for you. I would recommend not to pay more than 15 euros-ish for 1,000 meters, and you're doing well. It's all the same product. If you feel any doubt about it, read the reviews from the other people. They're just guys like me who are trying to pass on some information. The worst thing I've heard said about it is every spool is a meter shy of what it says on it. And at that price, I'm not complaining, and neither is the guy that wrote it. He just said, well, it's still a good deal at the end of the day, were his exact words. So there are a few more things that I have used over the years, and this is one of them, right? This is it here. Rapala, whatever you want to call it. I've had this for, I think, 4 or 5 years right now, and I've used it a lot, and it still hasn't broken or anything else. Extremely well made. It's water resistant. It is not rusting at all. Not at all. None of the screws, nothing. I think it's probably one of the most complicated and best made measuring tapes I've ever owned. And I love it so much that I'm going to get a second one, because I'm always forgetting it in one part of my gear or the other, right, when I'm making videos. So I'm going to actually buy another one of these. They are fantastic. Love them. So yes, if you want one, get one. You'll never regret it. They're about 25 quid, 30 quid, something like that. They are available on Ali, but they're more expensive there. So just get it here in Europe, where you are in the States, or in Australia, Japan, wherever. Just get it there. It's too expensive on Ali. I think it's almost 50 quid or something by the time the postage comes. So just get it where you are. It's weird like that sometimes with these Chinese platforms. Some of the stuff that is more exotic to them, like the stuff that we get for granted, is very expensive there. And these products and names that we don't know here in Europe, like Joff and that, are extremely cheap, right? Like I said, Cast King, nobody in Europe knows this. I know it from the States. This is a great product as well, and it's cheap on AliExpress, right? Absolutely a fraction of the cost of what you're paying for leaders and rig building mono here. That is almost it for this review of sorts anyway. And the last thing, and I know most people really don't have a use for this, but somebody might, and they might have looked at it and they thought, that's a bit pricey, I don't want to take a bet on it. Well, this is it here. This is folding gaff. If you just go onto Ali, just write in folding gaff, this will pop up, right? It's not hard, it's not rocket science. And it costs about 25, 30 euros with the postage. And I can guarantee you, if you get one, you will never look back. I've had this now for 3 years or so. It is just fantastic. I don't like any of this tarty stuff. It's got carbon fiber in here and all the rest of it to make it look pretty and everything. I mean, that's besides the point, right? I've dropped this in the sea, and everything is absolutely saltwater resistant. Folds up, the mechanisms never fail me. The hook is extremely sharp, and it stays extremely sharp, and it's very strong. There's nothing you can't lift with this. So if you're spinning, I mostly just use this for spinning. If you catch an oversized fish that you can't really reach and you don't want to try and lift it, you smack it with that and it's yours, right? Or you can just take it in the lip. If you want to return the fish, you can just take it in the lip with this and you can return it. If you lift it by the leader and the hook, right, you're going to cause the fish more damage that way, because the hooks are very thin and they could pull through its lip, or just damage it more. This is nice and thick. Yes, you put another hole in the fish, but you're going to do less damage to it than if you lift it with the leader and your gloves. I think it's fantastic. Nets are useless for what I do, for most circumstances. I use it for small fish from height. Other than that, I just don't bother with it. So that's my review, and I hope you liked it, and I hope it saves you money. I'm Billy. This is Billy on Chungsfjord. Wherever you are in the world, remember, I'll see you in the beach. Bye.